I hope you all are doing well. It's been some time that I haven't uploaded any video. I was occupied somewhere, so I wasn't able to recollect it. So let's start today. I'm going through some how the so today we will start through the rise of Buddhism, Jainism, energy because let's see that how it all arise and what was the time when how the Vedic religion got declined. Traditions. There's the historical religion which used to follow it was the Vedic Brahmanism. Vedic Brahmanism, like kind of, it was based on Varna system. Varna, you all know, I think you might be know about that. That in hierarchy, first comes the Brahmins, second was Kshatriyas, third was Vaishyas, and the other was Shudras. So it was basically the hierarchical order in which it has to be followed. So it was going on, and it was ritualistic also. Means lots of rituals was there, as you know about it, the solar sanskars. And in ancient time, it was much costly also because the person used to do all the types of yajna. And nowadays, you don't know about that. You might not be following these rituals so passionately or all the sanskars. But at that time, it was much prevented. It was a costly also because you have to give the dakshina to the Brahmins. They are getting benefited. But these guys were feeling that they are not getting much respect in this region. Not much respect of their work is because Kshatriya was a person that who used to fight. They are the protector. And Vaishyas was the main one who was a taxpayer. They were the rich guys who were earning much. And Shudras were the who were working, doing labor jobs. But they are not getting much out of it. And the Brahmins were in the hierarchy the most who are getting benefited in this Vedic Brahmins kind of sort of because you know that in all the solar sanskars doing that this business is set up by them and they are getting benefited by it. So it was like that. But after some time then as these things was going on then in retaliation the various things came up, the various religions came around because the Varna was not getting followed as the rise of Mahajanpadas was there. The rise of Mahajanpadas was there. The more polity and economy was also rising. So all the as a frustration between the other three classes were raising, and they are also in search of easier path to get the salvation because in this very Brahmin there was a one mediator, which was the Brahmin. Through this mediator, go through, you can connect to God and person. So Brahmin was there, but as these religions was coming up, the new religions, there was no connection between it. You can, this was absent, and you can easily get connected to God. So they are in search of, and initially it was also not ritualistic, but as you now you see in your neighborhood or in your surroundings. The Jainism and Buddhism also have much of a ritual, but at that time it wasn't so. So first, as was there was the rise of Ajivikasm. It was founded by Makari Kari Ghoshal. What is the Ajivikasm? Ajivikasm is basically have this philosophy that everything is predetermined. Predetermined means they think that if the food is coming in your plate, it is already have written. You can't change it. If it has to happen, and it has, if a person has to get the um, has to die at certain date, then it has to happen. You can't change it. It is basically the destiny. They believe in destiny a lot. They don't initiate to change to work for destiny. Because I, I don't inculcate or don't mediate with this ideology. I don't know how it is, but it is so. The, how are the clothes they wear no clothes, as it is Ajivikism. Monks used to live ascetic life. During modern empire, during modern empire it got expanded as Bindusara was Bindusara was follower. I think Bindusara was a father of Ashoka and son of Chandragupta, son of Chandragupta. And if you look at this, uh, these three person, they are like Dada, Papa, and Beta. They are following the different religions. Chandragupta was Jainism, he was Ajivikism, Ashok was Buddhist. You know that how this, you can say that how at that time religion was that they can follow every sort of, but it is a Sanatan religion, so that's why it is so. Now we will look for the Buddhism. Buddhism get Buddhism rises time period is between 6th BCE to 300 CE. It was its peak time, means the initiation's time and the peak time. It became most of the popular. It was one of the most popular religion at that time. During this time, it has also considered that the whole of the India, the Dakhan Bharat, became Buddhist. At that time, majority religion was Buddhism. And when Adi Guru Shankaracharya was the one who once again revived the Hinduism. At that time, the Buddhism and Jainism was one of the most popular religions. It was so at that time, the most popular. It is adopted by political class. It became more of the popular between the political class, big patronages, art and culture supported by the kings. This was the same was going with the Jainism also. Let's look at how this Buddhism began. It is usually considered that already Buddhist religion existed even before Buddha. But Buddha was the main that who made it much popular. So we'll go through it. Buddha was born in Lumbini in Nepal. His father name was Siddhartha. No, his name was Siddhartha and his father name was Suddhoda. He belonged to the Sakya clan. He also married. Her wife name was Yashodhara. At 29, at 29, when he go out, he saw the sufferings, that how the sufferings was going. The old man, a sick people, because at the time of Siddhartha's birth, one one monk said to his father Shraddhodan that this boy either will become a monk or a great ascetic or a great king. But you know that no no one's parent wants to become his son, like would like to become his son to be a monk. So his father was like bonding him all the luxury things. Like he didn't allow him to see any sort of this pain, like dukh, like sorrow. So he was living in this type of thing. He never visited his villages. Whenever he used to visit his kingdom, that his father used to announce that no one will, everyone should be happy, that no one will look like a sad, like sick. But at that time, when he go unknowingly with his chariot, then he saw all those things that the old man, sick person, like a corpus lady. So then he got to know that there is a story that more around it. And after it, he thought to, but when he was traveling, then he saw a monk when he was. Then he see this that the old man and the sick guy, they all are in sorrow, but the only a monk has a peace on his face, the tej which we say. Then he searched about it. Then he got to know that it is a monk that who didn't see the life, who are knowing to the true purpose of life. Then he left his home at 29, leaving his son also Rahul. He was having a son also Rahul. Then he leave his kingdom with the with his horse Kanthak to achieve a salvation. He do a penance, a lot penance, but he didn't achieve. Then he was sitting under a people tree, where he got the salvation. It is so. Buddha initiated the three jewels, which is known as Triratna. Triratna was Buddha, Dhamma, Sangham. I think you have heard this in any Buddhist prayer that Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, and Sangham Sharanam Sharanam Gacchami. It is this. So what does it mean that all things? Buddham is enlightened one, then be the enlightened persons, and Dhammam is teachings, and Sangham is monastic order, means a institutionalized thing. It was the three jewels of his religion, the Buddhism, and he also gave very four noble truths, which is Ariya Sanchay. Ariya Sanchay means four truths. It is he gave this truth that there is dukh in everyone's life. And what are the reason of dukh? It is the samudaya, means your surroundings, and how it can be removed. It can be removed by stopping it, by stopping it. And how to stop it? To Ashtangika marg, Ashtangika marga. Like every person has a dukh, sorrow in his life. But what is the reason of sorrow? Basically, the expectation, an expectation from whom we have, which is from our samudaya, which is from like we have expectations from our friend, from our parents. But sometimes when it doesn't have, when someone doesn't stand to our expectations, then it feels different. Then it hurts us. So how to stop? How to do it? By stopping it. Then how we can stop it? How we can erode it? It can be removed through using this Ashtangika mark. Let's see what are these marks. Ashtangika, Ashtangika mark. First is right view. When the person has the right view of point, then he have the right intentions. Then only when the person has a right intention, then he have a right speech. When the person has a right speech, then he do a right action. When the person has right action, then he's got a good right livelihood. Right livelihood has right effort, and right effort has right mind. Right mind has right samadhi. Like if you will look into it, that the Ashtangika mark is the person's that how the person should live. Right view is like having a no bad things about others, like having no expectations from other, not thinking about bad for others, like some sort of like hurting others. Then if then automatically we are going to have a right intention, and right intention is lead to right speech. When we think right, when we do when we have a right intentions towards the other, then only we can speak right things to others. Because as you have seen in your life also, when you say a wrong thing about someone, like you're doing bitching, then how it can be a thing to you can't. And right speech leads to a right action. because a speech is in itself is an action, and right action leads to a right livelihood. Right livelihood means person will he have a happy life in in his life, and right livelihood will made a person to go through a right effort. If a person will live happily, then he will do all right things, right efforts towards the society, towards in surroundings. And when he will do these things, his mind will have a peace. And when the person will have a peace, he will go through the right samadhi. Right samadhi is a time of the peace when he will attain the almost peace in his life. Moksha, we can say it. Now we'll go through there have been the four councils, Buddhist councils. Let's look into it. First Buddhist council was in 486 BCE, in 5th century it was. It was organized by Ajatashatru, and presided by Mahakashyapa. In this council, the Sutta Pitaka and Sutta Pitaka and Vinay Pitaka got compiled. Sutta Pitaka was like commentaries of Buddha, and Vinay Pitaka was the rules, norms for monks to achieve salvation. Second, the second Buddhist council was in Second Buddhist council was in 386 BCE, organized by Kala Shoka, and it was presided by Savakambi. So, as in first council, there was two compilation, that was Vinay Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka. Sutta Pitaka was okay. They all adopted it. But in Vinay Pitaka, there was some sort of divisions. Some was saying that it is it is too hard. It need to be changed. As I have said that Vinay Pitaka was composed of was composing the rules and norms for the monks, and some wasn't able to follow it, and they became Stharvadin. And Mahasangika was it need not to be changed. Mahasangika was not in favor of changing. So this religion got so Buddhism has its first division between Theravadins and Mahasangika in the Second Buddhist Council. And third Buddhist council was in 250 BCE. It was organized by Ashoka and presided by Mogali Puttisa, Putrutisa. In this, as already there was a first division between the Buddhism. It was the Theravadins and Sankika. So in Ashok, in this third Buddhist council, there was introduction of new Pitak. Means it was become a three Pitak. First was Sutta Pitak, Pitaka, and another was the Vinay Pitaka, Vinay Pitak, and new one was Abhidham Pitak, Abhidham Pitak. Sutta Pitak was commentaries of Buddha, like he has said all over his life, his teachings. And Vinay Pitak was rules which he made during his time for monastery for his organization. And Abhidham Pitak was the new one. It is considered to be it is having Abhidham Pitak was having the philosophical knowledge of Sut Pitak of Sut of Sutta Pitak. Like these two are same, but basically Abhidham Pitak was having a more elaborate thing of teachings of Sutta Pitak. It was that kind of. But during this third Buddhist council, there was also the question of that considering as Buddha as God, and other was that he was a monk. Who is a monk? A teacher. But some wants to consider him as a god. But during Ashok reigns, then Ashok made them all silent. Like he controlled the situation. But in fourth Buddhist council, it wasn't going to be so. Fourth council. In fourth Buddhist council, it was organized by Kanishka, presided by Vasumitra, and Ashok Ghosh. During this time, in Mahasangika, it got divided between Hinayan and Mahayana. Mahayana is like they consider Buddha as God. They are like for the worship of idol worship of Buddha. Bodhi introduction of bodhisattvas in Mahayana introduction. In Hinayan, they consider Buddha as a teacher and they used to worship Buddha as a symbol through elephant, through horse. There are many symbols too, like lotus. They used to worship relics, tomb worship. During this time, during Fourth Buddhist Council, it got divided. Now we will look into the schools of Buddhism. Schools of Buddhism. Theravada. Theravada was it is the oldest school who used the Vinay Pitaka, the old rules which was first compiled. It is having its branches in Sri Lanka. In India, it is not followed. Mostly, it is not. In India, the Buddhism which we follow it is kind of different in Lanka, and the main focus is Four Noble Truths. The second is school, which came into existence during the Ashoka. It was the Mahayana. Mahayana is that who considered Buddha as God. They are they are like initiate to the cycle of birth and rebirth. That's why there were evidence that I will tell it later. They evolved Buddhism into the ritualistic also. They also introduced bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas are kind of the who are on the path of who is enlightened, means they are enlightened. They are eager to on the way of achieving the salvation, but they cancel it their salvation because they want to help others to get enlightened. Basically, bodhisattvas are those persons that who are who are having a knowledge, who are going to become a scholar, but they don't discover how to say it. That bodhisattvas are persons that who are enlightened, who has the knowledge, but they don't want to give the exams because they want to help their fellow friends to attain that knowledge. It is that kind of, you can say it. So, Bodhisattva in Mahayana also they introduced the concept of birth and rebirth because they even say that the new Buddha will come, which is a Maitreya. Maitreya is the future Buddha. He will come once again. Like Buddha will have a rebirth, and Bodhisattvas are there. There are various kind of Bodhisattvas like uh, Padmapani, who are he is having a lotus in his hand, and other one is Vajrapani, Vajrapani who is having Vajra, like he is having a compassion, he is kind of furious, strong. It is the it they used to stand behind Buddha, if you have seen in the images of it. Mm. There's one more bodhisattva also, which is Manjushri. Manjushri. Manjushri is one of the intelligent Buddha, intelligent Bodhisattva, as compared to the Padmpani and Vajrapani. There are various things. Mm, they have some subordinate gods also, like Tara. I think you know about that Tara. It is much popular. In Hindu, it is considered as Tara Rani. It is somehow related to the Matara. Tara is different, Matara is different. Matara, it is also in Shakta Sampradaya. It is kind of that who represents the success and achievement. And there is Vasudhara also, which is related to wealth and prosperity. And there is Skanda. Skanda is like guardian, guardian of viharas. Viharas are houses of where the both monks are used to live. And Satarashi is Sit and there Sita the Patra. It is responsible for natural disaster. Look how much the religion has changed. Initially, there was only the Buddha, who is the monk who used to teach, who used to give values to the others. But as the time has passed, the other monks, the followers, initiated these many gods. They changed the main concept of it that the only there was a time during the Buddha there was no that kind of bodhisattvas concept was there. But as the time goes on, there came these many bodhisattvas because they want to at that time they want to compete with the Vedic religion. So that's why they initiated like somehow kind of some kind of which relate to the Vedic religion. During this time, the Buddhist also, that the Buddhist monks started using Sanskrit also. They also started writing a Sanskrit shlokas, which is into the Buddhism religion, but it was in Sanskrit because during the Buddha doesn't use the Sanskrit as its language to initiate, to inculcate his thoughts or speak. He always used the Pali and Prakrit language, but during the as the time moves on, as they wanna set up the hierarchy between it, so they started using a Sanskrit also as its language. These gods, if you will look into it, that Padmapani is concept like the compassionate god. It is a feminine nature. Vajrapani, if you will look into it, it relate to the Indra. Padma Maha Manjushri, if you will look into it, it somehow relate to the Brahma of Hinduism religion. If you relate to the Tara, Tara is like kind of Ma Kali, Ma Parvati, Ma Durga. Vasudhara, if you will look into it, it relates to the Ma Lakshmi. And in Skanda, if you will look into it, it relates to the god Bhairav. And Sitprata is some kind of like it is different. Don't find it as Sitprata. But it is. And if you look into the Maitreya also, it somehow also like related to the Kalki avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu. Like in Hinduism, it is that the Dashavatar, that the 11th avatar of Mahavishnu was will be the Kalki. That somehow that Buddhism during the Mahayana also they also initiate that the Maitri will come and Maitri will give give salvation to the peoples and help you, everyone to achieve the salvation. That's how it is getting evolved. Now we will go to the other school of Buddhism. It is Hinyan. Hinyan Buddhism, the main thing of Hinyan was the how to perceive the Buddha, perceive Buddha. They perceive Buddha through its teachings. Teachings became one of the bedrock to follow it. They said that Buddha is not a god, he is a teacher, but they somehow worship Buddha through symbols. They use lotus which initiate the birth, chakra which initiate that he got the knowledge, stupa is different. Like, there are different stupa, Triratna, Chhatar, deer. Deer was the first one who listens. The Deer was the one who was listening when Buddha gave his first sermon. And there is also a snake, which resembles a ritual's protection. This Hinian is much popular in Sri Lanka, in Southeast Asian countries, in some parts of China, also some parts of some person we can say in China considers themselves as no religion state, but some person, but somehow they are much inclined toward Buddhism as related to other religion. And there's other also like Vajrayan. Vajrayan is the branch of Mahayana. In Mahayana was the one who considered Buddha as a god, but after it also there come the Vajrayan. Vajrayan came much forward, much far as compared to Mahayana in considering Buddha as a god. In Vajrayan, the main god is Ma Tara. Tara is, if we will look into it, if someone wanna go a deep study, then they will relate it to the Matara of Hinduism. If Hinduism, in this, it combined the Brahminical tradition. When I say Brahminical tradition, then it is a Hinduism tradition. Then it is Hinduism. But Brahminical, as the historians has used the word Brahminical for the Hinduism tradition. I don't know why they can use it as a Vedic tradition also. I don't know. They know that how to write the book. I don't know. That's it. They combine the Brahminical tradition with Buddhist. They merge it and they initiate more rituals. Already there was some rituals in Mahayana, but they go deep in it in rituals. They initiate Tantra, mantra, and yantra. Yantra in Buddhism, through Tantra Mantra, they said to achieve the salvation. There are some mantras and Tantra Mantra yantra which can even heal persons. It usually got to practice in Tibet, in Tibet, Bhutan, Mongolia, and some parts of China also. If you will see in your neighbor, if you'll see in Tibet, then there are some medicines like you've seen in movies or some documentaries, like Tibetan peoples, how do they worship? There are some, um, as you have seen in Instagram or an online website, they are selling the stones or some kind of powder for they are this kind of that is tantra as we are going through it. That is tantra, the Tibetan Buddha, Bhutan, Mongolia, and China, and in Nepal also it is more. And in India also, as there are many of the Tibetans refugees are living here. So in India also, it is much prevalent. Look how the rituals, tantra, mantra, yantra came into it. That's how Dalai Lama is also of this sect. Dalai Lama also belong to this sect. And Maitre Buddha is also from this, which is which will say a future Buddha. You can see his image in Ladakh. Not image, it is a statue of Bhagwan Buddha, Maitre Buddha in Ladakh. It is so big, so you can Google it and you can see it. That how this future Buddha looks like. After this, also there are these are not just some of the school. There are these are just some schools. There are many subsects of Buddha, but these which we have discussed, these were the major. There are many sects of Buddha, like in Malaysia. Buddhism became the religion kind of. Who wants to practice that? How they want to practice. So that's why we call it the Sanatan, as it is a Sanatan Dharma. It relates to it. Because in Hinduism, if you will see that the whole religion doesn't follow the main bedrock ideology. In Hinduism also, like some worship, some people worship in their own way, some worship in their own way. If you will go through in Bengal, they offer, they sacrifice animals to gods. In Bengal, in in all over India, it is a part of sacrifice in Hinduism also. But for some people, the sacrificing of animals is not a part of their rituals. Some celebrate, some practice their religion in a loud noise, some doesn't. It is this kind of like this is the part of the Sanatan Dharma, so that's how the Buddhism got involved. That that's why it is kind of the word which is used for these religions. It is a rubber. That how much the person wants to bend, how much the person wants to stretch, they can stretch it with their comfortability, how much they are feel comfortable in it. So that's how it is. That's good. Okay. That's all for today. Thank you.